This is Joel Pollak for Breitbart News in the Moshav of Netiv HaAsara in Israel. It is the closest community to the Gaza border, and it has a population of 892 people. 20 people were murdered in this community in the Hamas terror attack of October 7th. Behind me, you can see some of the devastation that Hamas caused here. We are the first group of journalists to enter this community since October 7th. It is very dangerous. We are very close to the fighting in Gaza. There are streets we can't walk down here because we would be exposed to sniper fire. We can hear the sounds of artillery shells and airstrikes as we walk through this community. And if there is a red alert for an incoming rocket, we only have a few seconds to lay on the ground. But it's very, very important to be here to witness what happened here and to document it. And I'll show you a little bit about what happened here. When we saw the weapons that Hamas used, one of the weapons was a thermobaric rocket, which has the ability to incinerate everything inside a room. And the IDF official who collects enemy weapons told us that if we see the interior of a room that is completely charred on the inside, then it's likely to have been hit by a thermobaric rocket. The first warhead on the rocket opens the hole in the wall. The second, larger warhead, heats the surrounding area to 3,000 degrees Celsius and creates extremely high pressure. So here, let's just take a look inside. This was a family home where the family was murdered. You can see this is what a thermobaric rocket fired at civilians does. This is another view of the home that was hit by the thermobaric rocket. This used to be an American-style home with a wooden structure. The only part that is left standing is the reinforced, quote-unquote, safe room, which serves as a bomb shelter, but as I noted earlier, was hit by a thermobaric rocket. You can see the rest of the structure has been incinerated. Only a few steel beams remain. This was an elderly couple. Their neighbors across the driveway survived. Their home remains intact, but the two cars in the driveway have been completely destroyed. And you can see that this couple enjoyed tending their garden. They collected interesting art and sculptures. And this is what Hamas did to them. This is what happens when you fire thermobaric rockets, anti-tank weapons, and other weapons at civilians.
Get down, get down. Somebody was live in Facebook, right?
We're moving through the community of Netiv HaAsara, and we just had to duck and take cover because of Hamas rockets that were fired here. There was a loudspeaker that said, "Red alert, red alert, Tzeva Adom," and all the journalists took cover. We had to lay on the ground, cover our heads with our hands, and then we heard the Iron Dome missiles intercepting the Hamas rockets, and then a short while later we could get up and start moving around again. But this is the danger of covering this story so close to the fighting in Gaza, so close to the border. This is the hillside at the edge of the community where the Hamas paragliders landed on October 7th. And this is where they began their attack on the community. Once they landed here, they dismounted and spread throughout the suburban streets, killing anyone they could find.
It started for me at 6:29 in the morning. I remember this time because every morning, even when it's a Saturday, I don't tell anyone, I go out from my home to the farm. I'm a farmer. I have a farm here in this community, and I start to walk 6:30 in the morning. And that Saturday wasn't different for me at 6:29. And when I went down the stairs just to enter my car, to go to outside my home and enter my car, it was the first explosion, the first Tseva Adom alarm, the first alarm telling us a rocket is coming. It was out of the blue. We didn't expect it. Usually when a round comes, we feel it. We know it's coming. We know things happen in the region, things happen in, I don't know where, somewhere in the world, or even in Gaza itself, that starts what is going to be in the next round. This time round, there wasn't any signs. It was a complete surprise. Nobody expected it. Nobody imagined it. Nobody knew it was coming. And for me, it was just another Saturday, waking up in the morning, knowing that I'm going to work. And the first rocket, the first Tseva Adom, just blew up my car in front of my eyes. And then I knew, okay, that Saturday didn't start the way I expected, but I didn't know what was coming yet. So I took all the kids. It was 6 of us and 3 dogs, and we entered the bomb shelter, and we closed immediately the electricity went down, and the phone connection went down, and we were in the dark, literally, because when you close the door and you close the window of the bomb shelter, there is absolutely no light. It is complete darkness, and when you have no electricity, you are there in the dark. And we were sitting there not knowing what was going on, but we heard hundreds and hundreds of rockets coming, explosion all over the place. Tseva Adom started again and again. Tseva Adom is the red alert, one telling us a rocket is coming. Here, because we are the closest community to the Gaza Strip, we have in reality, from the time we hear an alarm coming until it's actually the rocket actually land, we have about 3 or 4 seconds. This is how we live 22 years of our life, knowing that we have 3 or 4 seconds to save our life when a rocket is coming. So this time round, we didn't have a second break. It was coming and coming and coming, and we knew that we have to stay inside the bomb shelter just to be safe. And then we started to hear the gunshot. Then we started to hear new sounds which we never heard before, and it was very, very close to us. And then from the very, very light communication that we did have through WhatsApp and other things, we started to hear people calling for help, people screaming, people saying, they are here, help me, please come. They're throwing grenades into our homes, they are shooting us, they are doing all kinds of things. And then we realized that we are in a completely new world. Something that we never experienced, something that we feared, but we never thought it's going to come in this kind of a scale. So it was, I'm speaking here and I'm trying to put it aside. I'm trying to speak like it didn't happen to me. Otherwise, I won't be able even to tell that story.
I'm looking here toward the border with Gaza. We can't go there because of the danger that we will be fired at. But what you're seeing in the distance is a home. And this is a home where a father was murdered in front of his 2 sons, and it is the most disturbing sequence in the entire 43 minutes of raw footage that the Israeli military put together documenting the Hamas atrocities on October 7th. I've described what happens to the father and his boys elsewhere at Breitbart News, but this is where it happened, and it's quite overwhelming to see it.
In the past, trying to survive 22 years of fighting and rockets and rounds of war between us and our, what I used to call neighbors, I used to give myself a story that allowed me to have hope. And that story was that there is a separation between Hamas, that terror organization that took over my life, and also the terror organization who took over their life, and the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, what Hamas did, proven to us that it's not just one organization, it is into it. It was the entire population that were after us. And restoring that hope that there is some people that you can speak to and rebuild connection on the other side will be a very, very long recovery.
The fact that civilians participated in some of the
Horrific
terror,
acts, yeah.
that changed your view?
It didn't change my view. My views staying the same. You know, eventually we have to desire to have peaceful life with whoever surrounding us. But it's changed the way they acted. They didn't change me, changed them. I mean, before that, there were Palestinian people who didn't come inside, murdering people, raping women, kidnapping babies into Gaza. And when they did it, they proved that they are not the people we thought they are.
I'm standing here with the other journalists about 100 meters from the actual physical boundary, the border with Gaza. The wall behind me is called the Wall of Peace. It is on the Israeli side of the border, and it provides an extra layer of protection, but the actual boundary is beyond that wall. And you can see the actual boundary as I shift this way. That gap in the wall, that is the actual boundary with Gaza. So we are right here. As we conclude our visit to the community of Netiv HaAsara, you can see behind me this home is the closest home in Israel to Gaza. The Israeli military has brought us here because they want to document the story. They want the world to know what happened, and they want the world never to forget. And it was important for me to be part of that effort. It was important to me to be a witness to the atrocities that happened here. This has been a difficult visit, but also a very important one. And I hope you'll continue to follow our coverage at Breitbart.com. For Breitbart News in Netiv HaAsara, next to the Gaza border, this is Joel Pollak.